Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat. We have another fantastic episode. We are talking AI. We're talking the future. We're talking news. And of course, we're talking about our big event coming on June 6th. All the details coming up in today's episode. We've got some shout outs. We got winners, losers content. And yeah, we'll get into it right now.
Let's go.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, Cathies, we are back with another episode of Group Chat. And before we get into it, we have our event coming up on June 6th, 6 p.m. at the Lo Siento House. We have sent the RSVP information to everyone in the Discord. So they get first come, first serve because limited capacity because it's not like a massive venue. It's going to be an intimate event. So once all the Chatty Cathy Discord members RSVP, we'll open it up to general public. And it'll be, like I said, in Venice on Abbot Kinney. 6 to 9 p.m. Tequila, unlimited tequila provided by Lo Siento.
Sounds like a Sunday night podcast.
It sounds like a Wednesday to me. And we'll have some food. So it'll be fun. It is during LA Tech Week. So this is our second LA Tech Week event. We did one last summer at the Victorian. It was a fun, really good turnout. So we're going to do that again. It's going to be fun. So if you're in LA or you're planning to be in LA or want to come to LA, it's going to be a good event. Reach out.
So the format's going to be casual, just everyone talking.
Everyone talking. I'll think of some fun ways for everyone to make sure they meet each other. But yeah, like I wanted to do it in a setting where it's intimate enough where you get to actually talk and meet everyone as opposed to just like a party where you don't, get to meet people. So come out for it. It is LA Tech Week. There's a ton of stuff going around the city. And specifically, it's all happening on the west side. So easy access to get to. And this will definitely be the best venue because unlimited tequila.
Yep.
So make sure you check the Discord and then stay tuned for once we release it past the Discord, we'll send the link out. So come on out, especially if you're on the west side. There's no reason not to come out. And we'll do some fun things there. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
I love meeting all the Cathys. It's insane. Like, the people that hit me up on a daily basis and what they do for a living, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's high quality listener for sure. So many successful people in wide ranging industries.
Yep.
So it's not just centered in, fashion or tech.
Yep.
It's literally everything.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool that the community is so diverse.
Like I got, speaking of a very fun one, James Gregson, he's the creative director of Lego, listens to the podcast.
Wow.
Reached out and I did something. I spoke with him at a Lego event on Zoom last week.
No way.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
corporate Lego.
Yeah, corporate Lego guy.
What was the topic?
Just talking about like the importance of podcasting as a marketing and communication tool. I think like the big thing that people realize that podcasting is important and influential, but for the most part, most people do podcasting who are really large, like they make their living off podcasting. For us, it's unique. So what are the intangibles of building a podcast that people don't talk about? And for specifically us, it's everything. Like, I mean, you got your car.
Yeah.
Like it's just
big value add in the middle of a car shortage.
Yeah. It's like, whether it's getting car, whether it's so many relationships for me for work, just life, like the influence you have with life, getting to know all these interesting people. It's fascinating. And I think my general belief is I think there is a higher level of curiosity today by people in general because of the access to information, that if you tell a good story, almost every business sounds interesting. Yeah. Like if like business breakdowns and things like that. I know they generally talk about like the sexiest businesses, LVMH, NFL, whatever. But like, I bet you if you broke down anything from waste management to a cleaning service to a software company to a trucking company, they're all so fascinating. And I was like, man, Lego's such a fascinating company, family that owns it, the business. Like there's so much opportunity for, I think, nearly everyone in some sort of format to create content.
Yeah, I think the quality of content, it's not close for whatever you're interested in.
Yeah.
Podcast is by far the highest level of quality.
Yeah.
I mean, cable news is unlistenable.
Yeah.
And
What about books?
books, sure. Most people, audio books is the fastest growing segment of
Yeah.
that industry.
I think even for me, like the problem with reading books is one is time. I have more capability of listening because I'm on the go. Like, for example, in New York, because of traffic, I walk everywhere. Literally, that's like my only time I'm get to listen to podcasts or hopping on a plane or, you know, sitting through an airport, whatever it is. There, I find myself with more free time with audio than I do with reading.
And reading's just, you have to be completely uninterrupted.
Focused. Yeah.
So it's basically at night or really early in the AM.
Yeah.
Where there's no distractions.
Exactly. So it's really hard to read. And I think,
like with the audiobook, like you could just sit on a plane, close your eyes and listen.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, I would rather than listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast about a book where they highlight the things I need to know. Because even even in some of the books, like the audiobook I was listening to about Sam Walton, there was a couple of chapters I didn't really care. Like it was just pointless. But if someone had read it and did a podcast about it, they wouldn't have even talked about those chapters. They would have gone to the parts of the book that's like the most compelling.
Right. No, that's true.
So yeah, well, all that to be said, next Tuesday, Lo Siento House, Venice, on Abbott Kenny. Details in the Chatty Cathy Discord. If you're not a club member, sign up, join the Discord. If you need help getting the Discord, if you DM the group chat pod Instagram or me, we'll put you in touch with John from Dropped and he will get you in. This guy will FaceTime you, text you. He's all in. And hopefully John can make it out to the event because he's helped so many people get into the damn Discord. But yeah, food and drink provided by us. And I'm trying to get Eric Deluxe to make something fun for the club members that show up.
Like some sort of merch?
Like exclusive merch for people that came live.
Yeah.
So
great designer.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll come up with something great.
Great designer of our time. All right, let's get into some news because last episode we wanted to get into news, but we just did not talk about news.
Yeah, that's how Sundays have typically gone, and I feel it's kind of a good balance.
Yeah.
Wednesdays is news.
Yeah.
Sunday is
banter.
Because people want both.
Yeah. It's a nice balance. Here's the big news. AI might be over.
Why is that?
So Jeff Bezos came out, and I don't know where he said this exactly, because the thing that I found really, really interesting is clearly Amazon and AI are going to have a big impact.
Yep.
But he said, if something feels like the 1849 gold rush, where everyone is chasing something and it's the most talked about thing, opportunity is probably pretty limited in this space. Right now, AI feels like the gold rush.
So as a AI investor,
big AI guy.
Yeah, 21 before the gold rush started. Yeah. I actually had a catch up with the company I invested in yesterday.
Yeah.
And he actually broke it down for me better than anyone about what's going on in the space. So I honestly think two things. One, venture has been such in the shitter the last 2 years that you're looking for a reason to get excited. And AI is the last hope that you can get the next Uber returns, Airbnb, ByteDance, that type of returns. And I think everyone's holding on to AI as a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
So all these AI companies are getting funded across the board. And what this company CEO told me was that there were a lot of companies that had early access to ChatGPT
Yep.
and we're basically able to use the API before everyone else.
So yeah.
And so they actually have no moat.
Yeah.
And-
Their moat was that they were first.
The moat was the first, and then now it's everyone has access to it. So anyone can build anything. So those companies are actually worthless.
Yeah.
So unless you're building real tech that's proprietary to you, which very few people in the world have the technical capabilities to do that.
Yeah. It's really just.
It's similar to, I almost was thinking about it for something that we can all like appreciate. It's like D2C, early Facebook ads, everything worked.
Yeah.
Because
Everyone
was cheap.
thought they were a brand genius.
Yes. Everything worked.
Yeah.
Cost of acquiring customers was negligible.
But the big difference was that run was at least a decade.
Yeah.
This was 6 weeks.
6 months.
I mean, dude, this is so crazy. So AI copy, someone on Twitter, his name is Chief AI Officer. Basically, AI copy was like the first boom in AI, which happened effectively in January.
Yep.
So that's Jasper, that's Writer, that's Copy AI, and that's Write Sonic. Those are 4 companies. With the exception of Copy AI, the other 3 have declined in traffic in the last 3 months.
And they're charging for something that's free now.
No, it's free. And I think there was an enormous amount of novelty that first time ChatGPT came out, where people were like, holy shit, this is really, really cool. And even myself, I used it a lot. Like, honestly, the first month. My usage of it now has dramatically dropped.
But you use it as a novelty, not for actual life purposes.
Yeah, well, I think I'm struggling with what are my use cases for it. So I'll give you a perfect use case where I should have used it. I posted on LinkedIn yesterday for the first time in like 6 months. It was grammatically incorrect because I did it during a meeting, but I wanted to post it. It was on my top of my head, so I just posted it. Poorly written by all stretch of imagination. I then later in the night put it into ChatGPT on how they would write it, and I didn't like it. I don't talk like that.
Okay.
And the post I did has 100,000 views on LinkedIn already.
What's the post?
It's just about, I basically called out and said that On Running came out with earnings last week. Record revenue, record earnings, beat every metric, guided higher than they ever expected. Stock tanked 25%. One reason only. Inventory was up 196%. And basically that's what Ghost does, right? It helps people manage their inventory. And I said that despite all, I would argue On is the most fascinating brand of the last decade.
Yeah.
Them
and Alo.
Yeah.
I would
Alo, On, Hoka, they all they went after Nike.
Yeah, they went after the most crowded spaces with legacy brands that are still cool.
That are like felt untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like On is like one of the greatest brands of the last couple decades at the speed at which they're growing, right? And despite that, the stock got whacked $2-3 billion in market cap. And my point was just that inventory management does really, really matter in public markets. Like you having bloated, and I explained it in the sense that when a public market investor sees your inventory levels are up that high, all their conclusion is you will have to discount and you will erode gross margin, not today, but in the future.
Yeah, basically every company, depending on the industry. So obviously On's a shoe brand.
Yeah.
There's like certain dog whistles that investors look at.
Yeah.
And you get whacked or you get rewarded based on those dog whistles.
Yes.
And NVIDIA is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Their earnings were fine.
Yeah.
Not spectacular, but they raised guidance by
like 50% or something.
Yeah,
right?
50. It was supposed to be 7 billion to 11 billion.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh my God, and you can make the argument. Elon actually said finding GPUs. So NVIDIA basically, if you haven't heard of the company, it's effectively been the infrastructure of every innovation in tech the last 10, 15 years. So originally it was gaming, then it was crypto mining,
Yep.
and now it's AI.
Yep.
And they're the backbone of all these industries. And Elon actually had a quote saying, finding a GPU, which is basically what powers all this AI, a graphic processing unit, is harder to find than drugs.
Yep.
Basically saying it's like the new cocaine.
Yeah.
And that's why NVIDIA was up 30% and became a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
Because you don't, at that scale, they were like a $755 billion company already.
Yeah.
To go up 30%
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah. It's the same thing. The fact that On went down 25% is wild because fundamentally, the only indication that there might be any challenges in their business was that their inventory position was much higher than expected. But that is, the function of the public markets. It's not only how you execute. It's not just public market, private markets. It's not just how you execute. It's how you tell the story.
Yeah, and I think that's why CFOs of specifically publicly traded companies are so valuable, because it's their script.
Yeah.
They're the ones who have to go to the investors and tell the story in a way. Obviously, the CEO is the main event, but the CFO is in the background,
Yeah.
writing the script, saying this is what we should focus on. Let's highlight this.
Yeah.
Let's highlight that. And I have a friend who was a public market CFO for a tech company, and I'm not going to say the names of companies. He'll see like an earnings report, and he's like, "This is a terrible CFO.
Yeah.
Like, you don't talk like this."
Yeah.
And their stock gets crushed.
Exactly. And I think that was kind of my point of the post. And to bring it full circle, if I had used ChatGPT to write my post,
You wouldn't get 100,000 views.
no, because I think it wouldn't sound, I don't talk like that. I talk grammatically incorrect.
Well, it's the reason why people listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
We're not reading off a script like a CNBC anchor.
Yeah.
We're off the cuff,
Yeah.
just talking.
Well, this is my thing about AI, that like why I do not believe in like AI created content at scale. Like even though we know the quality of the content will be high, there's something about like the personal touch of like, I don't believe in AI music unless it's house. I just do not fucking believe it's going to work.
I think AI can basically give you a framework, and then you have to actually use it on top of that.
Like I've seen people who iterated 10 times using ChatGPT. That is incredible. Like, because the prompts are so good. But it's going to be the prompts of like Aaron Sorkin, not the prompt of some fucking idiot.
Yeah.
When it comes to like a script. And I think that to me is the difference, is that I think Aaron Sorkin ends up churning out more content because of ChatGPT, but I don't think Aaron Sorkin gets replaced.
No, and I think, this was going to be my loser of the week, but we can just jump right into it. Like, I kind of did a deep dive in this writer's strike to see what was going on. And so there's a few different aspects of it. One is, not to like go too deep into it, but the old days, you got 26 episodes a year if you're a writer at a Law and Order.
Yeah.
And now episodes are like 6 episodes. So that same writer is only getting paid for 6 episodes, not 26 episodes, if you're working on a show.
Yeah.
And this show can come out year after year, so your pay is just down.
Yeah.
And then just to jump to the AI part of it, one of the things the writers wanted is AI to be basically banned from production studios, and they wanted like a moratorium, like let's give it a few years. Apparently that's what the writers' demand was.
Yeah.
And the studio said this is a non-starter.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, we've talked about this, like you can get the framework, so you don't need 20 writers, you need 4.
Yeah.
And just from a business perspective, look, we're not in the Hollywood business. I'm sure agents, writers, if they listen, they're going to pick a bone with what I'm about to say. You're heading into a declining economy in the industry that doesn't work, which is streaming, which everyone put all their eggs in that basket. So they need to cut costs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not viable businesses. This is from Paramount to Disney Plus to Peacock The only people who don't give a fuck are Amazon and Apple.
Yeah, because they can just outspend.
They can outspend and they can wait it out. Saying whenever you guys figure your shit out, like,
yeah, we'll jump back in whenever.
Yeah, they don't care.
Ted Lasso can wait a year.
Yeah. And, even Netflix, like, they have to prove that there can be a sustainably profitable business.
Yeah. Well, I know. I talked to a friend of mine who has a production company, and he was telling me one of the gripes with the writer's strike is that the writers used to get residuals, right? And streaming basically removed that. They give you a big upfront fee, and that was it. And now writers are saying, okay, well, or actors, everyone's like, well, we don't know how many people actually watch these shows. How do we even know? How do we participate in it? And they're like the reason
it's not even how do you participate. How do you price yourself?
Exactly. Price yourself. If I'm Netflix or Apple, I'm never sharing data.
No chance.
Why would you? I'd rather drown out everybody and put them against the wall and then eventually one day restart the business.
Because I heard the argument that the downside is if you limit the writer rooms, junior people don't get the chops, you're going to get lesser quality content 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a trickle effect because you're not going to get that junior writer that was able to make enough money for 5-6 years and then he comes up with Succession. I'm just making this up. I don't know what the story behind Succession is. But the real question from a business perspective is you're just trying to figure out how to be viable.
Yeah.
What do you care about content from 5 years from now?
No, it doesn't matter. And to be fair, like I'll give you a comp where people did not think it would exist. It's the NFL. When the concussion thing happened and Kaepernick happened, everyone's like, the pipeline of players to the NFL, if you did the math, there was no one who's going to want to play football a decade from now.
Completely false. But
it was managed so well. It was just handled with just like masterful execution. And what happened? Fucking sports bigger than ever. Youth football is probably bigger than ever. And they figured it out.
And there's certain groups like, sure, maybe in a suburb in the valley, a parent's going to say, no, you can't play youth football. Guess what? That person wasn't making it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter.
The guys that have a chance to make it are still playing.
Yeah, they want to play it. Yeah, maybe the absolute number of people play less youth football, but like there's enough people that want the great ones are still playing.
The next Patrick Mahomes is playing. Is in a Pop Warner
right now, getting ready to play. And like, just think about it. Look how like articulate like all of these young athletes we meet are. They're not dummies.
No,
they know, and like they're comfortable taking that risk. And I think that's where you don't want to overplay your hand when you're the quote unquote talent. Is the end of the day, these people still control the money, and it's going to be a dangerous thing for the NBA because like the talent is overplaying their hand right now, and the owners still at the end of the day do have control over the league, and they can bleed out for a little bit because they're billionaires.
Right.
I can lose to one or maybe
if the players strike, it's the players that hurt.
Yeah.
Not the owners.
No. Unless the owner that's their only source of income. But as collectively.
Most owners, I would say, like the Lakers ownership requires the income, but the other owners don't.
No. They can wait it out.
Joe Tsai does not give a shit.
Yeah, he can wait it out. And so I think from the writer's strike perspective, like you're going against such behemoth.
And you're going against an industry with massive headwinds.
Yeah.
Because none of these businesses work.
Yeah. It's not like they were all printing money. Like if you look at the challenges for like, why is Disney stock down? It's completely directly correlated to streaming. Is that because the expectations of streaming are so high that...
Yeah, their money-making business, which is the cable bundle, is declining.
Yeah.
And the more expensive loss business is what you're hoping to cut costs on. Yeah. So I don't see how the writers win. I know creatively, sure, you can make the argument we're going to be starved of great content, but these business owners and studio heads aren't paid because you're creative. They're paid because they need to make money in their core business.
Yeah, and I think what will happen is specifically on the writer side, it'll just become more efficient business. And I actually think if I'm thinking about it from the writer's perspective, is you can make up the money. So instead of 20 writers to one show, it becomes 5 shows filled with 4 writers each because of AI. and more content does get put out, more quality content gets put out, and there's enough buyers, it'll just be a cheaper price. That's it.
Yeah, the business needs to restructure.
Yeah.
And this is going to trickle down to the Directors Guild, the Actors Guild. Everyone's going to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
Because who you're selling your content to is losing money.
Yeah.
So what's their choice?
Yeah. That's the problem. And
It's not like if this was 20 years ago, like this is what's funny. Technology like kind of disrupted everything, but the old days, everyone was eating.
Yeah.
The writers were eating, the actors were eating, directors were eating, and now we created this new platform where it's tough to make money.
Yeah. And I think
and you have two competitors that can outspend everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect storm for Amazon and Apple.
Yeah, like I can't even imagine what the morning show cost with all those stars.
I think it was like 20 million an episode or something.
What was it that much?
Yeah, look it up. I think it's something crazy.
I mean, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon.
There was that one show on Amazon that
Steve
I
Carell.
watched that was like an action show that it was the most expensive show ever.
Yeah, it was over 100 million, and it's just a streaming.
And it was like,
movie.
yeah, I forgot what it was, but yeah, I mean, how much was the morning show cost?
$300 million for the season.
What was it? 10 episodes?
Yeah, I think so.
And then can you imagine how much Ben Affleck and Matt Damon got from Amazon for the Jordan?
I don't
movie?
think they got that kind of money.
You don't?
No, because that's not like Air is not like fucking Jennifer Aniston morning show. It's just not the same level. Air is such it's like us. That's who's watching it. Old males.
Yeah, 37 plus, 37 to 50 males.
I don't know. Like I don't know how much they got, but I don't think they got 300 million.
I think you're talking about Citadel.
Yes.
It's a 6-episode series on Amazon Prime, cost $300 million.
Yeah, like Paramount, these guys can't compete with that.
No. It's
I
ridiculous.
mean, they probably on that 300 million, they probably lost.
275.
Right. I mean, how many subs did you drive?
To Prime?
Yeah, that's the whole point of this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's whoever greenlit that, like a lunatic. 6 episodes, $300 million. Oh my God.
Lord of the Rings Amazon Prime series costs $500 million.
I mean, there's clearly people willing to spend money still.
Yeah, and they can monopolize all the top talent.
Yeah, they can. I mean, look who's doing shit with Amazon and Apple. It's literally the top.
Yeah.
yeah.
Tricky. I don't know how it's going to shake out.
You know, I it's the same way I feel about AI. I think AI is going to be extremely powerful. I think it's going to empower a lot of businesses, a lot of industries. I also do not believe it's the end all be all.
I agree with that.
I don't think it's going to like 300 million jobs are going to be replaced. I find that hard to believe. I think it's going to make a lot of businesses more efficient. And my take is more that I think the NVIDIA CEO said this last week, that every time technology comes and everyone thinks it's going to displace jobs, it ends up creating more. If you think about the last 20 years, everyone said the internet was going to replace brick and mortar is dead. This is dead.
Yeah, you just have to shift where you're spending time, but this feels a little different.
I don't know. I mean, I have not. I think in
Because at the pace, it's improving.
yeah.
ChatGPT, when it launched to today, it's a very different product.
Yeah, but the problem is like, what are the use cases to make what, fake memes? Like, I get there's the large language model data
The
analyzation.
Adobe stuff is
Okay, so
insane.
Adobe, the generative AI stuff is really cool, and I think it helps creatives. That's one segment of the industry, right? I think analyzing large data sets and making it more efficient, because I actually don't believe anyone's analyzing large data sets today. I think that's a farce that these big companies are actually analyzing it. And I think today this will give them the power to analyze, and then you have to actually use the data. That's the joke on what I think about a lot of these data companies, is a lot of people are given the data, but how many people actually act on it? Because if you look at how inefficient so many businesses are, I would argue that they're not using their data sets to make decisions. So maybe this helps people come up with solutions that are better than what's out there. And I think there are clear use cases where it's going to make a big difference. But like, there's a lot of industries, like it's not in anyone's incentive in healthcare to be more efficient. We want it to be broken.
Yep.
Being broken makes money.
And they have the regulation to stay broken.
Yes. So what is healthcare of our GDP?
20% or something.
Yeah, exactly. Why? It ain't helping healthcare. I'm sorry, they're not gonna let fucking AI come to healthcare.
Yeah.
It's just maybe they'll get like replace some doctors, but like insurance companies ain't gonna let AI come in there. That racket is too bad.
Think about how many healthcare startups were trying to revolutionize medical records the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Medical records are terrible today.
It's impossible still to get them.
Yeah.
There's literally the doctor still wrote around with a sheet of paper says in 2011 you came here. So I'm just saying that like I think there will be advances and there'll be some amazing things that'll happen from it. I'm not calling like that the whole world is falling apart tomorrow.
Yep.
All right.
Maybe in 5 years.
What?
Maybe in 5 years.
I don't know. We're just we move too slow.
There's also no incentive to crater these industries.
No.
Because most of them are profitable. The reason why the writer's strike is interesting because it's not an industry that's working right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's move on. Presidential race is heating up.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear Mike Pence is going to announce.
Yeah, June 7th or 8th.
We know Trump and Biden and DeSantis are in it.
Mm-hmm.
A new name surfaced today. I actually love this name. It's rumored that Jamie Dimon is going to run for president.
Well, it's rumored that people on Wall Street are encouraging him to run.
Bill Ackman went all in today.
So let's caveat Bill Ackman. He also went all in on Vivek Ramaswamy 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, he bailed on him.
Bailed on him quick.
I mean, that guy's a nutbag.
That guy went from 0 to 100 to 0 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's not very Indian of him, the way that he's handled the situation. Like,
he's completely irrelevant already.
Yeah, no one's listening to him anymore because he just went complete quack job. But so Bill Ackman, you should read the tweet because he makes a very compelling case that he's a great business leader, family person, has the experience. He's saying he should run as a Democrat. I love him as president. I don't think he should run as a Democrat.
I think he should. David Sachs go back and forth.
No.
So Sachs said, "Yeah, that's what everyone thought about Bloomberg, but he couldn't even last past the first debate."
Yeah.
And then Ackman responded saying, "He's no Bloomberg. Basically, he's way more charismatic."
Yeah,
he's feisty.
Yeah, which
Jamie Dimon. You have to be feisty. You have to take shots at people.
Yeah, which he's willing to take shots. Unfortunately, like given he's a big bank and Wall Street guy, like Democrats is not where you're going to gain support at the grassroots level. Like you're not like Gen Zers are not going to bat for Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, you'll have AOC.
There's no way all those people, Bernie, going to get in line for Jamie Dimon.
That'll be tough. He can't run as an independent because it's a waste of time.
He has to run as a Republican. But you can't go against the Donald.
You can't go against the Donald. You have no shot.
He's going to tear him to shreds. Man. That's my big...
How funny is that? Let's assume he runs whichever party. 2 of the top 4 leading people that people are talking about are tied to Epstein.
Yeah. Who isn't?
I don't think Biden is.
I mean, like, I think like the craziest names are on that list. When they go, who went to the island?
But it's funny how they, I saw certain news articles say like Epstein's pal, Jamie Dimon.
They're going to destroy him. They'll destroy him before
and his family. I mean, the Trumps don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
You could destroy all of them.
Yeah. That's why I actually think the tactic, like people are still posting pictures with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump. They clearly do not care. That is not working.
No, not for Trump.
No, like you need a better tactic with him. But I like him as a candidate.
Yeah, he's an interesting candidate. The problem is,
especially given the
way
budget deficit.
the way politics works
Yeah.
is that you have to be part of the establishment.
Yeah.
Trump's the only one that came from outside the establishment.
Yeah.
Even Barack Obama had to get the blessing of everyone
Yeah.
before
All the donors.
he ran.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm curious to see what happens, because it doesn't look like, and
He's on a heater too. In finance, he's the most important person.
oh yeah, I mean he's consolidated all the power in banking,
And yeah,
he like stole First Republic.
every billionaire has to deal with Jamie Dimon.
Yeah. If I'm Jamie Dimon, I'm not running for president
No, there's no upside.
unless he feels like there's like a civic duty, like I've done my part in finance. I'm richer than hell. Like I want to help.
He's better off doing what Bill Ackman does, which Bill Ackman says, I know a lot of people hate me pretty much,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people in Washington read my tweets, so I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll have some influence.
That's fair. Okay. You know what we would love for him to influence on is the impending Fed meeting coming in June. So it's coming up quick. And originally everyone thought, oh, definitely pause. Inflation is completely out of control. We still have it.
Inflation is sticky.
Yeah. It's very sticky. And every time you think it's coming down, some metric comes out, like core inflation is still high. Energy prices have not really dropped. When Dollar Tree reported earnings last week and said that their low-income consumer is being drastically hurt by inflation. Foot Locker got crushed on earnings last week as well. They said their consumer is predominantly low to mid-income, and so that inflation has been a humongous problem for their core customer.
So I think Drama and I talked about this last week. And our conclusion for Foot Locker specifically was that's an excuse. Your business probably just doesn't work the way it used to. Because you can find Nike Direct. It's 70% of their business is Nike.
Yeah.
You can use the app.
I think it's more of a merchandising issue than it is a
Yeah, and they're
side.
not getting the hot stuff.
Yeah.
And you could go on GOAT, StockX, anywhere.
Yeah, you need the stuff the consumer actually wants. That's fair. That's fair for that. But
inflation is the new like seasonal.
Yeah.
Is your excuse.
Well, I think inflation is like what shipping and port congestion was 18 months ago. But what you are seeing is that just on the data side, inflation is actually here still. It has not changed. And we have to figure out, because now the likelihood of a hike, I think it's like 50% chance of a hike in June.
Yeah.
25% in July. Like, we're going to be at like 10% interest rates in.
Yeah, it seems like we're heading to at least 6.
Yeah.
I mean, the average mortgage rate is now over 8%.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was over 7.
I think it hit 8 yesterday.
I mean, it's going to crater the stock market if you can get 6-7% risk free.
Yeah. Stock market seems resilient.
It is resilient. I mean, the debt ceiling is obviously a disaster.
Yeah.
So, speaking about that, we're running out of money any day now. June 1st, June 4th.
Yeah, they say like 50 billion treasury goes down to 40. It's probably like 20 now.
Yeah, 20 billion, right? Kevin McCarthy, Joe Biden met over the weekend. They said they had a deal. Sleepy Joe, for his purpose, won that argument because all they did was shave a little bit on the spend on IRS. There's no cap on military spend. There's no real decrease in spending anywhere, which is what Republicans wanted. I don't think this is going to pass in the House. Like, all these Republican congressmen said, like, what is this guy doing? Kevin McCarthy. Because basically everyone came out of this was like, cool, we'll raise the debt ceiling, but let's control on spending. There was nothing. If they just cut some IRS budget, that's it.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. So, I mean, you got to imagine a deal gets done. It's a disaster for both parties.
I don't know.
And I don't know the mechanics of like when do checks stop getting processed.
I mean, if you have
In
the
2
money,
days. Yeah.
yeah, instantly. But the market doesn't seem affected by it.
Market doesn't care.
Yeah. I mean, market just keeps buying Nvidia.
I mean, big tech's on an absolute tear.
Well, big tech, I guess, is. I mean, I guess if you have to put money to work, it's by far the safest place to put money
Mm-hmm.
because they're cash rich. They can withstand the pain that basically the market's going to feel. But I was talking to our friend Derry, and he was saying that if you look at people with income under $75,000, they're 100% in a recession already. That's what he believes.
Income under what?
75,000.
Well, yeah, he has the data.
Yeah. So he's like, that basically is indicating that like that cohort of people are experiencing a recession. Higher income haven't really. I mean, I think we talked about it on Monday. I mean, record travel over Memorial Day weekend everywhere. Airports busiest. Hotels are so busy. Flights are continue to be extremely expensive. There's a lot of inflation still all over the market. And I think I'm really curious to see what the Fed does. They have to raise again.
Yeah, and they keep raising. I mean, it's the lower income people that are going to get crushed.
Yeah.
With inflation this high. I mean,
Credit card debt is going to
it
crush the low income.
Yeah, it's all-time high.
Yeah. All right. Best of luck to everyone. Because if that CPI in June
comes in hot,
it's a wrap. I think they're going to raise either way.
They have to raise.
I mean,
they don't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to raise in June. They keep raising for the rest of the year.
I don't know about the rest of the year. They need to see like the real economy. I mean, they did crush the regional banks, so they crushed one industry. Commercials crushed.
Yeah.
So we've already ruined.
We got to see housing. We need people to lose their homes.
Yeah, that's the next.
Yeah.
If people start losing their homes, then they'll stop.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of someone that's not losing their home, it's the Chanel family.
Yep.
This is the most insane, staggering number. Chanel sales are $17 billion. Okay. One brand. Guess how much profit?
30%.
Just about.
Good business.
They basically do, I think, $4.5 billion of profit on 17 billion of sales. Their sales grew 17% in 2022. Even China grew double digit, and that was basically closed. They're still privately held. They are releasing their, a few years ago, they just decided to start sharing their numbers. I think more just out of transparency. But this is bananas.
They're just divvying out billions of dollars to the owners.
Yeah. So I think the family that owns it are the Werthermeyers, and they've owned it for a very, very long time. There's like a long history with the family owning it. They have like a huge family office that they invest in a lot of tech funds and a lot of different businesses. This is unbelievable. Like luxury, like Hermes, we saw their numbers were bananas. LVMH continues to be bananas. Like, it's pretty interesting. Like, with all the innovation and technology and the Elon Musks of the world, but so much of the most valuable companies on earth. Like, if Chanel went to market, what is it worth? 50 times EBITDA? $200 billion?
Probably.
Easily?
Because it's still growing.
Yeah. It's still growing. It cash flows. And you could argue that Chanel is pretty underpenetrated.
What could potentially make Chanel not, or Hermes even?
Nothing. There's scarcity, right? If they over distribute.
That's it.
That's it.
Because it's still impossible to find both.
Yeah. I mean, there's an Hermes opening. So shout out to Mickey from Mag Park opening his new flagship store in Topanga Mall, the Westfield there, which, you know, we grew up going to that mall. That mall growing up was a shithole.
Yep.
Not nice. There's an Hermes coming in Topanga. An Hermes. Can you imagine? Did anyone in the Valley in 1980 know what Hermes was? No fucking way.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
I didn't even know what Gucci was till I was like 18 years old. I think I went to USC and I found out what that meant.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that area has boomed because a lot of athletes and a lot of celebrities live in Calabasas.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of high-end
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah.
That are,
And there's just a lot
With
more
the-
wealth in the Valley now because a lot of people have moved to the Valley for like different, better quality of life. So I think that's really a function of that. But it's unbelievable, the terror of luxury. What's interesting is if you think about like what the data tells you is that the consumer has decided whether I have money or not, if I want something, I'm going to pay for it. I will pay $5,000 to go to Disneyland. I will buy the handbag I want. I buy the shoe I want. I buy the dress I want. And then everything else, I'll go to Walmart and Target for, or I'll go to dollar stores for, or whatever. I need a spatula. My budget's $1.25. I need a handbag. I need a Chanel. I think that's how the consumer works today. I'm cheap on everything except for the shit I want.
yeah, that makes sense. And I think Hermes in that area is specific because if you're a wealthy person, the amount of land you can get versus living in the city is like massively different. So you have extraordinarily wealthy people that have chosen to live there for privacy reasons, for safety reasons, space, and it is fascinating that the Valley is able to attract that.
Yeah, and I mean, just given that I'm go through this process, the schools are also just better in the Valley too, like public and private. Every best school, I mean, Harvard Westlake and all these schools are all in the Valley.
Yeah,
and
no,
so like if you want to be in proximity of your children's school, like you have to live in the Valley.
I know I posted in the Discord that knockoff of the Jordans that Shein's
Yeah.
insane.
So it's gone viral. A pair of Jordans, I think a couple pairs of Jordans. Shein has completely knocked off the silhouette, not the swoosh and the Jumpman, but they're selling it. And at what point does the American government come in and say, like, you don't want to protect Facebook. We know that. We've come to a conclusion. You're not going to protect Facebook. We have to protect Michael Jordan.
I agree. You have to protect IP.
Yes. Like, I don't understand why the United States government is so anti-protecting IP.
It's just not even on their radar.
Jordan?
No, Shein. The regulators and the politicians.
Yeah.
I know it's doing tens of billions of dollars.
Tens of billions.
in
Like
the
$20
US.
billion or something.
But it's just not on the radar.
Yeah.
Do you think Kevin McCarthy's heard of Shein?
Kevin McCarthy? Nah.
A chance.
I mean, if I'm Bernie and AOC, like, I'd be screaming at this affects American jobs and American, exceptionalism, all the things that like all these politicians talk about, and you're not willing to protect it. It's kind of wild.
I agree.
All right, moving on. New York City.
Okay.
Interesting thing happening in New York City. This is the headline. This is not something I wrote, just to be clear. It says, fat people now officially a protected group in New York City.
What does that mean?
Basically, Eric Adams instituted a policy that if you are overweight, you're a protected class, similar to, you cannot discriminate like based on race and gender. You cannot now discriminate based on weight. Apparently that was happening at jobs. I don't know how you enforce that.
There's going to be lawsuits.
A lot of lawsuits. I think you opened yourself up for a lot of lawsuits.
This is why Ozempic and Mogiorno, I don't know how to pronounce that,
Manjaro.
are going to be the biggest phenomenons in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Barkley went on the Pat McAfee show and said he lost 65 pounds.
On Manjaro.
And he's like, I have no idea what it even does. I just know I've lost weight.
And he feels good, probably.
Yeah, he's like, I feel like a human again.
It's cheating. I mean, people think AI is going to be big. I think Ozempic and Manjaro is going to be way bigger than AI. What's more important than people's health?
No,
Zero.
You know what? He had a quote on the Pat McAfee show because Barkley's hilarious. He said, do you know why you don't see really fat old people? Because they're all dead. That's what he said.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. It's true. Look, I think at the end of the day, if anything we've learned in the last couple of years, it's why I think people are like YOLOing on spending, is because life is too precious.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing all this for if we're going to be dead, broke, and dead?
Yep.
And I think when it comes to specifically health, I think like as a country, I'm all for creating a tolerant, accepting society of all types of people, but I don't want to do it at the expense of people's health. Because I think if you just accept, if you just come out and say, okay, we're not going to discriminate, which I agree, you should not, and we're tolerating this, you're actually not helping that person. There's no study that says being morbidly obese is good for you.
Right.
Unless I'm not familiar with it.
Yep.
Like, it is more costly of a life. It's a shortened life. It's a miserable life. So like, why would we ever push that narrative when there's clearly an incentive to get people to be healthy? Like, I'd rather Eric Adams, okay, if he does that, great. Ban soda, ban snacks on top of it. Just say, I'm with you guys, but I'm going to help you guys too.
Yeah, just basically put like a 50% tax on soda. Because you can't ban it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it just puts ridiculous, make it so expensive that, people just stop doing it.
Isn't soda basically removed from all public schools?
Yeah. I don't think it's affected sales though.
No.
I mean, I still see people drinking Mountain Dew. People out here drinking. It was the funniest thing. So I was in Orange County over the weekend with my at my in-laws, and there's like this really cool, good coffee shop in Huntington Beach called 602 Coffee. I like it. So I go get coffee there in the morning. They're open like 6 a.m. Take the kids, go get coffee. I'm parking, walking. I see this couple walk out of the gas station across the street. They each have a Gatorade and a sour cream and cheddar Ruffles at 6:30 in the morning. And it's not like they were, it didn't look like they were up all night from the night before. It's not like Vegas when you see that, whatever, you're munchy because you're hungry and drunk.
If you go to any gas station and you see what people are picking up,
it's horrific.
Yeah, you pretty quickly see what the problems are.
Yeah.
In our society from a
I mean, Ahmad, who's been on the podcast, he's been to the office before. He has the beef jerky brand. He was telling me he owns some 7-Elevens. He said it's a pack of cigs, a Monster, and like a donut.
Yeah, it's basically like, remember McDonald's was like 25% of Postmates' revenue?
Yeah.
Or GMV?
Yeah. It's quite fascinating. But yeah, look, I think I'm just a belief of like, we have to help people get healthier. Like, be accepting, be tolerating, give people the time they need and give them the mental and physical support. But like, we can't, like, it's not actually helping them. Like, they're going to feel better once they're healthier. And it's not about being skinny. It's just about being healthy. Like, people just underestimate what that does to your mood, what that does to your confidence, what does that do to just your general quality of life. And that's where, like, I can go on the conspiracy with Big Pharma. Like, the incentives aren't there. Like, why aren't we pushing that narrative?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a big challenge for going forward if this happens in New York City and it starts happening all over the country, but we're not helping them get healthier. You as a politician are not serving your constituents.
But here's the issue. We walk through what people actually want. It's not going to be politically popular to ban these things. Constituents are going to be like, I want pizza, cigs, and Monster.
I know, but like they got it out of school somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe you can only sell soda at certain hours, like alcohol. Like alcohol and soda is only served certain hours.
Yeah, I think that's what they've basically done to legal marijuana shops like MedMen. It's like a 60% tax.
Yeah. So why not do that for snacks?
That's also why the black market for weed is hotter than ever.
Yeah, because it's too expensive. Imagine just like, I got Doritos here. Come through my back. I got Doritos for 75 cents. Pull up. That's what's going to happen. All right. That's it. We're going to move on. Winners, losers, content. Anna, what do you have? Winner of the week.
Pat McAfee,
Yeah.
5-year deal, $85 million to be on ESPN. And it says he walked away from a 4-year, $120 million deal with FanDuel.
I know why his relevance went down.
You think so?
Yeah. I think the FanDuel like partnership didn't.
He's gone viral because of his relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
In
I
the
just think
offseason?
ESPN is still a massive platform. He's basically now the face of ESPN.
No, Stephen A. Smith still is.
Not by dollars. Stephen A. Smith ain't making that kind of money. I
Last
guarantee.
was rumored was that Stephen A. was making 12 to 14 million a year. So now this guy's at 18, which not going to make Stephen A. happy.
I'm telling you, they're banking on him. Look, Pat McAfee, if you go by social media, he has enormous influence. Enormous influence. And I think he brings back other parts of the audience ESPN has lost. ESPN lost all the right.
Well, they lost
On daily viewership
for sure. They definitely lost the right, but they also, Pat McAfee is like a free spirit,
Yeah.
off the cuff, unscripted.
Yeah, he's more Barstool. That's his vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where he came from.
He's more Barstool and pretty fascinating rise. He's only 36 years old.
Yeah. I for 5-4 or Menlo Clubs used to sponsor his podcast. And it was like a few $100 to sponsor his podcast.
Yeah.
And then now he's getting $85 million.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It happened fast.
And he was like a punter in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I know. Everyone was like, you should have. I talked to him about doing a deal and it was like pretty inexpensive, like being the face of the brand.
He's
and,
got a loyal Barstool type fan base.
yeah, I think it's huge for ESPN. It's finally they're signing people in the right.
It's especially because they're ESPN specifically. Obviously, Disney has layoffs all over, but ESPN, they're cutting talent.
Yeah.
And his time slot isn't great. He's taking over Max Kellerman's 11 a.m. Pacific time slot.
Okay.
So it's 2 p.m.
But they may re-show the show like
It's
six
going to be on
times.
YouTube
Okay.
and ESPN Plus. It's going to be everywhere.
But, you know, now they'll have him Monday Night Football sitting there. He'll have to go to everything.
He has to do game day as
Yeah.
part of the deal, college game day on Saturdays. He used to pop on this past season.
Okay.
And, you know, he dresses different. Everyone else is in suits.
Yeah, he's just wearing whatever he wants.
Yeah,
they're going to
tank top.
make him go to NFL.
They
right?
have to.
And then they'll make him, you know, NBA Finals. Go sit.
But it's interesting that he's going to a platform which is declining, cord cutting.
Yeah, but ESPN is still the biggest.
I guess because he's doing YouTube still, it's good for him. He can still get his content to
Yeah,
everyone.
his podcast will still exist. He'll have the TV show. He'll have more national exposure. You know, being game day still gets like you're now calling the national title game. Like
Yeah, he probably will be.
that's 20 million
Yeah.
people.
18 million a year. They're going to make him work.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good for ESPN.
He has to do 230 produced shows a year.
Fuck. It's a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, Stephen A's on TV the entire day.
Yeah.
He's getting paid less.
Yeah. I like the bet. I think it's going to bring people back to ESPN. I think ESPN went too liberal. It's just what it was. Like, and now they're realizing that they lost an audience.
Yeah.
Those people didn't stop watching sports. They just stopped watching SportsCenter.
Well, Sports Center is irrelevant because you got the clips immediately.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to watch
It's
it.
just also not interesting anymore. I watch dumbass sports shows all the time. I'll watch like old college fucking football highlight shows.
Yeah, but that content's so much better in clip format. Because if it's look,
The problem is it's also the talent, the on-air talent for SportsCenter. I don't want to see Scott Van Pelt.
well, he's their biggest.
That
That
did you
know,
find
but
him
he's
to be
still huge.
compelling?
He's still big.
He's not good. I'm sorry, he's not interesting to me.
Yeah, he's not.
I'd rather see Dave Portnoy talk about the Celtics loss. Is more. I watched Dave. Soon as Celtics lost, first thing I did was go to Dave Portnoy's page because I wanted him to see him sulking, crying.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why First Take still works, at least their clips are seen everywhere. I
Yeah.
know if you look at their
Ratings
viewership,
are bad,
it's
yeah.
probably bad. But the clips, it's because it's a circus.
yeah.
Everyone's just screaming and yelling.
It's Fox News of sports.
Yeah.
It's a circus. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. That's what people want. Like, we don't need, like, we're not in that Bob Costas era anymore
Yeah.
where it's all these, like, we just want first line, fuck this, boom, 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 fire bombs. That's
Yeah.
what we want to watch. All right. My winner of the week is Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Butler, star of the Miami Heat, rumored to be Michael Jordan's son. There's a rumor.
It's TikTok journalism.
Love it. It looks. There's definitely some relationship. The clutch gene is in his blood. Game 7, go out there, beat the Celtics, beat the shit out of them. Now he's in the NBA Finals. I know the ratings are going to suck because it's Denver and Miami, but I actually think that the lead up to, I think Jimmy Butler is so blockbuster, and then the fact that he likes country music and like
Taylor Swift,
and I think Jimmy Butler is going to carry the NBA Finals on his back in terms of ratings because there's nothing compelling about the Nuggets. Like no one cares about those people.
if you're not a super dialed in NBA fan, you don't care.
No, you couldn't name one person on that team.
I think people know Jokic at this point, but they couldn't name the second player.
If you showed a picture of him without the jersey behind his name, they don't know who he is. Average person.
Average person, yeah.
No.
Casual fan, no.
No, but I think Jimmy Butler has the potential to carry the damn. They just have to win a couple games. I know they're not going to. I'm not confident they're going to win the series, but who knows? I hope he wins.
I mean,
It's the best story in sports.
they
this year.
lost in the playing game and
Yeah.
now are in the finals, so
8
anything's
seed.
possible.
Yeah, so good for him. It's a feel good story. I like it. So watch it.
Yeah.
Loser.
My loser was on the top of the pod when we were talking about the writer's strike. I just think it's financially such a difficult solution that I don't know who gives in.
Yeah.
And how. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see the end game.
Yeah.
Because people are losing money.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's going to be tough for.
And I'm not saying I'm picking a side. Like, I have sympathy for the writers. Like,
Yeah.
you've been making money your whole career, and all of a sudden,
Do you honk when you see them?
honk?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to?
I don't know. In support. I don't.
I don't either. I didn't know that was protocol.
Yeah. Like during the teacher strike, I was honking.
Okay.
Because I drive by the CVS studio every morning. There's like 8 people picketing. They don't really have momentum either. Like you need like hundreds of people at least. They literally have like 8 people.
Is that where the main protests are?
Yeah. In front of the studios. I'm sure like I drove to Burbank Airport the other day and there was like 6 people at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to Burbank Airport tomorrow morning. So I'll pay attention again. But like you got to have like some quantitatively a decent amount of people.
Yeah, there should be hundreds
My point.
because they're not working.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. My loser are, Kevin McCarthy is my big loser. He had an opportunity to like actually make cuts in the budget and he got swept up by Sleepy Joe.
Democrats are hot.
Yeah. It's pathetic what he came back out with. Like some like moderate cuts, no cap spending on military. Like it's just a joke. Like we obviously know as a country, we have to rein in the budget. I bet you if you went to the general population, majority of Americans are comfortable with making budget cuts at this point.
I don't know if majority of Americans actually understand the gravity of the debt. Meaning,
But if you said, should we be more efficient as a government?
everyone would say, yes, we should be more efficient, but you don't want to get rid of however you benefit from your program.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part.
Yeah. There's enough pork belly spending. Pork barrel, whatever it's called.
Yeah, pork barrel, I agree. But you can't cut Social Security. You can't cut Medicare. You can't cut Medicaid.
Yeah. There's plenty of things to cut. Plenty. You can cut $1 trillion somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Content.
Little Mermaid.
Oh, you watched it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Really? Dominic and my wife went to watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Seems like the critics didn't like it because if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score versus the audience score is a pretty wide gap.
Yeah. It's very controversial.
What part?
The casting. That's why it's caused a lot of harm.
What's controversial about it?
Because she's black.
Oh, white people don't like that?
Yeah.
She was great. She's a star.
What's her name?
Halle Bailey. She's an absolute star. I think she comes from the Disney world. And she has a sister who's also...
Oh, Haley and Chloe?
Yes.
Oh, I know who they are.
And she was fantastic. Her voice is incredible.
Yeah. No. I mean, my wife said it was amazing. It was incredible.
How did Dom like it? I was wondering if kids would resonate with it because it's pretty intense.
He liked it. He liked it. He said it was good. The person he went to go see it with said that he walked out because he thought some parts were scary.
Yeah, I could see that, especially for young kids.
Yeah, but in general, I thought they said it was really good. They liked it. It's hard to say. I mean, he's just happy to be in front of a screen.
No, but I'm telling you as an adult, it was very good.
Okay. My content is I don't have anything. I'm not really watching anything. But instead of watching, I am watching a TV show, Firefly Lane on Netflix. More my steez than Succession. I try to watch a little Succession. It's good. Fine.
May I give a content recommendation?
Please.
Jury Duty on Amazon Freebie. 10 out of 10 recommend.
What is it? Who's on it?
James Morrison is like the one famous guy. It's basically if the Truman Show met The Office. This guy gets put through jury duty, but everybody's an actor except him. So it's like one long prank for 8 episodes.
Wow.
Great content.
That is good. Really good. I like it.
8 episodes. See?
Eight's good.
No longer the 26 episodes.
I mean, Firefly Lane, I think, is like 15 or 16 episodes. A lot of content. Old school. All right, we have a shout out from Joe Colota to his fiance Courtney for her successful business's 2-year anniversary. She's selling out Taylor Swift dance parties throughout the country. Wow, what's the business? I'm very curious here now. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
2 years, especially a really tough 2 years. But I guess if you're riding the Taylor Swift wave, I mean, there's nothing bigger.
There's a big Taylor Swift economy.
I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar economy. Anything she touches.
It's freaking impressive.
I mean, she's changing the ticketing market, like just upended it. She clearly travels well because people are flying all over the goddamn country to go see her.
People are going to every city.
Every city. In August, it comes to LA. I think it's like 5 nights. 5 nights at SoFi.
Bananas.
We were looking at the SoFi lineup the other day in our text.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. My guy, Morgan Wallen. I started listening to Morgan Wallen this weekend. That was my content. That's what it was. I get it. It's fucking good. It's really, really catchy.
And then Beyonce comes September.
Beyonce.
She's doing 3 nights. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So Taylor's doing 5 nights. I can't believe Morgan Wallen's doing SoFi.
Is he going to show up?
May not. The only one I know who's showing up is Taylor Swift.
Beyonce's
showing up too. And then there was some Latin artists, I think like Romeo Santos. Who else was there? Metallica.
They're showing up.
They're definitely showing up. They'll collect that check. I don't know. It's interesting to see. Who else? Anyone else?
Ed Sheeran.
That's huge.
I mean,
what is it? Pink? That's unbelievable that Pink can still sell out a show like that.
It's a hot summer.
Yeah, I mean, concerts are booming. Every concert's packed.
Yeah, I mean, ticket prices for these.
I don't
things.
understand.
And you
how
can't
people-
even get it on the first try, right?
Yeah.
So it's all resell.
Yeah, I'm impressed how people are spending money. Insane.
Swifties are flying to different cities, so you're seeing them at the airports.
Yeah, I saw in New York. You had Aaron Rodgers, Bradley Cooper, and who was the other third person together? Someone
I
else.
saw it. I saw
Someone
the
really
clip.
famous.
They were all dancing to Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I think it's cool if you're a macho male to dance to and sing to Taylor Swift.
yeah. There's enough videos of
Jimmy
other.
Butler did it. Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's insane. Awesome. All right. Do we have anything else?
You want to take a question?
Oh yeah, let's look at the questions. We have all these Kathy questions we're slowly going to get to. Also, a big shout out to Cameron, who's doing our social media. He's doing our Twitter. Now he's doing our Instagram. I would definitely follow on Twitter because like the content's really good. I mean, I'm getting news from there myself because it's like so fucking thorough.
Yeah, it's great.
So I know you guys are all working on it. So that's awesome. All right, let's see. Let's see here. All right, this is a good question. What are your stances on getting an MBA for those with undergrad business degrees? I'm going to share a fun fact with you that I overheard last week. 40% of Harvard MBA students this year are unemployed.
I saw that on social media.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
I talked to 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah, they do not have.
Is it because of salary expectations? Because they went to a top
I think it's
MBA
a
school?
combination of, and salaries have come down dramatically. McKinsey on the undergrad side, I think is pushing people 1 year out. You still have your offer, but it's 1 year.
And Goldman's firing MDs.
Yeah. So I think, look, these MBA folks are used to starting 150, 180, 250, depending on where they,
500.
yeah, depending on where they go. Like,
If you're going to private equity out of MBA school,
yeah.
first year, 500,000.
So that's after all the bonuses and everything.
Yeah.
But so you went and paid for this MBA program.
You're out 150 grand.
Yes. And you had a dandy old time. And so you can't make 150 grand.
No, you can't.
So if that's your option, then what do? Do you hold out till the market turns? Because once you accept that price, you're that price.
The only reason to go to an MBA is to expand your network. You're not learning anything that you can't learn with public information between podcasts, YouTube.
Yeah, it's not for learning. The network is the thing is the network at like a top 5 school is exponentially better than the network of a top 25 school. Right? Like if you go to Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, maybe MIT, who you're surrounded by versus if you went to, Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it becomes a harder justification if you're not going to a top school, in my opinion, because the network. Look, if you go to Harvard, it's fucking worth it. If you go to
But if you're saying
Stanford,
40% are unemployed at Harvard,
sure. I mean, what does that mean at every other MBA school?
90%?
75%, exactly. But at least the opportunities presented to you will still be better, and the network is insane.
it also makes sense because we've been talking about the white collar recession that's already happening.
yeah.
Those jobs just don't exist.
Yeah, and by the way, after speaking to a lot of them, they're not in a rush because either they probably made a lot of money leading up to going to Harvard, maybe they came from money, right? It is at the end of the day an elite. It's like you're not at Harvard because you're just smarter than everyone. You're also probably connected, have money, all those types of things. So it's like, I think it's pretty interesting. Like, I think MBA is a tough one unless you're going to a top one. That's my view.
Or if you have a guaranteed job after.
Sure, maybe your firm is paying for it. No matter where you go to school, your firm's paying. Then why not take the fucking break?
Yeah, and I don't know when these jobs are coming back with interest rates approaching 6%.
So I was optimistic that the top of next year things would get better. There's no way. Because interest rates aren't going to go to like 3% by
No.
January.
But all you need is signal.
Yeah.
That first quarter basis point cut,
Yeah.
markets are going to go nuts.
Yeah.
When that happens, I'm going to stop trying to predict.
Yeah. Because you thought June.
I thought first half of this year.
Yeah. And it's just out of control.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions? Ask us in person in Venice, June 6th at the Lo Siento House. You can ask all the questions you want. We're there for 3 hours. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you here Sunday.